お待たせしました。ニューヨーク発シェンユンが再びやってきます。荘厳で美しい夢のような舞台、失われた古代文明の扉が開く、一新された演目、お見逃しなく。素晴らしい世界があなたを待っています。チケット購入はシェンユン .com/jp。
Hello, and welcome to this special edition of the Capital Report. We're in Seoul, South Korea. We'll be filming here for the next few days, where we'll be taking a deeper look at the Chinese Communist Party's influence and infiltration into this democratic nation. South Korea is not just strategically important to countering North Korea's nuclear proliferation, but this country serves as a beacon of light for democratic values and human rights for billions of people in this region. Being surrounded by communist China just to the west and sharing a border with communist North Korea only 35 miles from where we stand right here. The democratic values and way of life South Korea enjoys is facing an imminent challenge. This as CCP infiltration permeates every sector of this society. Behind me is one of several major theaters throughout South Korea, who at the Chinese Communist Party's behest has blocked an American dance troupe from performing. This will be the focus of tonight's episode. What is Shenyun, and why is the Chinese Communist Party working against it in South Korea? NTD dives into the history of the CCP's interference with Shenyun and why the free world should care.
The long arm of Chinese censorship reaching a key U.S. ally, South Korea. Major theaters in Seoul now declining to rent their venues to Shenyun, an American performing arts company whose dance and music portrayed China before communism. Epoch Times investigations show that a Chinese embassy in Korea has for years been threatening Korean theaters with economic and political retaliation if they let Shenyun perform. In 2016, KBS Hall, owned by Korea's national broadcaster, canceled a contract with Shenyun after the Chinese embassy sent them a letter warning it will be detrimental to the relationship between Korea and China if the theater proceeded with Shenyun performances. A Korean court ruling in this case explicitly pointed to potential economic retaliation from Beijing, stating that if KBS cannot export its broadcasting contents to China, it may face huge losses. But Korea is not the only democratic country in which the CCP is using its political and economic leverage to censor free art. Chinese embassies have sent similar letters trying to stop Shenyun from performing to theaters and elected officials in the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia. In one case in Spain, the Chinese ambassador there admitted on tape that he personally warned a Madrid theater that it would lose the Chinese market if they didn't cancel Shenyun.
跟中国的这个市场今后合作的前景是非常广阔的。你不能因为这个东西呢就丢掉了这个中国市场。他们也是马上就是认识到这个问题。
But why would a powerful regime use all kinds of tactics to interfere with a classical Chinese dance show? Shenyun describes its mission as to revive China's 5 millennia-old traditional culture, which has been largely destroyed under decades of communist rule. The group's performers also practice Falun Gong, a meditation practice whose practitioners are persecuted by the Chinese regime. Some company members have fled religious persecution themselves or have family members still imprisoned in China. Alongside dances portraying scenes from imperial dynasties and literary classics, some of the show's pieces also depict the story of what Falun Gong practitioners are facing in China today, or attacks on Buddhist temples during the Cultural Revolution. The show's perspectives on Chinese culture, history, and spirituality have put it on the CCP's target list. But it's also these values that have drawn millions of audience members from around the world. Shenyun now tours in nearly 200 cities and 20 countries every year. While the CCP's campaigns to censor the show have failed in most countries, they are making headway in Korea. How Korea and the U.S. act on it could decide if China can exert control over more key allies, all at a crossroads, bowing to CCP pressure or upholding values shared by the free world.
Hey, I told you enough of that.
But look, this is different. It's GANJING world.